Hello everybody, this is show time. My name is Dantom and this is for effective listening. So therefore I'd like to have everyone's attention, please. To start off, I'm gonna just briefly describe what I'm gonna talk about today, which is what is effective listening, hearing versus listening. Are you a good listener? Am I a good listener? What are the barriers and ways to overcome them? Why to be an effective listener? Conclusion and questions after I finish, please. Right, Peter Sain said to listen fully, effective listening. To listen fully means to pay close attention to what is being said beneath the words. In other words, my very body language, the way I'm talking to you, the way I'm looking at your face, the way you are looking at me, this all says something. It's not only the words, because basically words sometimes, can hide some agendas, can hide different meanings, and you have to be able to, to go after them, to go and try to abstract the intrinsic meaning of these words. And also, Scott Williams said that effective listening is actively absorbing the information given to you by a speaker, showing that you are listening and interested. Are you interested? I know it's just about time for us to go home, but are you interested? And this is quite important. And obviously to provide feedback to the speaker so that he or she knows the message was received. For example, when I'm looking at you and I see a few faces looking at me, obviously you are showing that you are paying attention, we are communicating. But when I look at some people, they have their laptops on, they are joking. Obviously there is no effective listening there. For example, let's just do a quick exercise here. Those who are listening effectively, just please raise your left hand. Yes, a lot of people can see that. Very good, very good. Okay, so moving on. Okay, hearing versus listening. According to the Concise Oxford Dictionary, it defines hearing to perceive a sound with the ear. As you can see, we've got the dog over there, and it's just kind of listening to, a music or something, a noise in the background or something. This is hearing. Whereas listening is to consider with thoughtful attention. Are you considering to what I'm saying? Are you actually taking it in? This is listening. This is effective listening. Otherwise, it's just hearing. Basically, I'm just doing maybe some noise here in the front. And hearing is passive, and therefore the intellectual thought is not applied, but it is. On the other hand, listening is intellectual, and it does require one's intentional attentiveness. So obviously you have to try to concentrate. It is an exercise. You have to, in order to master it, you have to practice. If you don't practice, you obviously are not going to achieve it. You're not going to get it somehow. And as Ken Johnson says, that really listening, the contrast between hearing and really listening can be different as night and day. In other words, as far as the East is from the West, this is the difference between hearing and listening. So now we know the difference between hearing and listening. And question, are you a good listener? Are you really a good listener? And this is something that is not me, it's not mate, it's not anyone, but you have to consider that, because this is quite important. This is a skill that you're going to carry over your life. So some barriers, according to this person, he published this article in 2006 called Michael Webb, and in his article, he described 8 barriers that effective listening that we encounter in order to get to effective listening. And obviously he's presented the ways to overcome them. Assuming the answer, okay, I know what this guy is talking about. I've seen this all, I know what he's gonna say. But hey, Are you sure I'm going to say the same thing? Are you sure she's going to say the same thing? It might be similar, but it's not the same. It might not be the same. If you are actually assuming the answer, and you just basically interrupt the speaker, and if you want to say something, if you disagree with him or her, and it means that it shows that you don't value what he or she is saying, and therefore it's quite rude. Obviously, take your time, wait until at least 3 seconds when he or she finishes the messages, and then obviously you can ask, because this is a break that you are allowing him to switch from the speaking position to the listening position. Helping the speaker. I know lots of people, they like to help the speaker, they like to talk to the speaker. I mean, oh yes, they add words. But come on, are you really sure that he's going to say this or that? So obviously, it's not really proper to help the speaker. To treat discussion as competition. Some people, they will take this wholeheartedly. They will use it as a way. For them, it's like, some people, it's like they're so competitive that if they do not disagree, it seems to them that it's a sign of weaknesses. You know, and obviously this is something that person has to fight. It is something within, this is internal, intrinsic, and the person has to fight. And obviously a way to avoid this is to do not disagree totally. Obviously you try to control yourself, you have that character on yourself. So try to, at least if you don't agree with what he or her is saying, obviously wait your turn. If you cannot wait, obviously, you know, consider at least a few points that you actually agree with him or her. Try to impress or influence, the same. You know, if you're trying to impress someone, if you're trying, let's say I'm here talking, I'm trying to impress, let's say, yes, you. So basically, you know, I have to check for my inner motives. You know, otherwise I might not be able to speak, and then the person is not going to be listening effectively. It gets kind of also boring. And reacting to red flag words. What's that? To some people, it's quite rude if you say a certain word, a certain phrase, if you talk about this or that subject, right? Let's say, for example, let's talk about war. To some people, it is quite offensive because they've lost their parents in war. So you have to be very careful. And if you do listen to that and you yourself suffer from that, obviously you have to work on that. You have to try to pay attention to the message. And obviously, although as painful as it might be, you try to actually, try to listen effectively. And